Good morning. This is David with Tarot and Astrology for All, bringing you a reading that I thought was actually very interesting. This was a collective reading, so a reading for the planet as a whole or the collective as a whole. And so, as I was drawing cards, the King of Swords came out in the reverse. This to me is pretty synonymous with the idea of Mercury in retrograde. So, when Mercury is in retrograde, people don't really have the right train of thought. People don't have proper communication. People have trouble getting whatever it is that they're trying to say out. And so there's a lot of misunderstandings. I do believe that people are misunderstanding other people's messages, right? So let's say you're talking with a significant other, say you're talking with a friend, they might not understand what it is that you're trying to tell them, and at the same time I do believe that whatever it is that they're trying to say may not be fully understood by you. Even for those of us that have risen in consciousness to a large degree, there could still be misunderstandings taking place. Now, the second card that I ended up drawing was the Hermit. And so with the Hermit, it told me that collectively as a whole, we all need to enter into a type of hermit phase. And through this hermit phase, it would allow us to be able to see these things that we need to do as a whole, as a collective, right? We all need to stop and think for a second, especially with the Mercury retrograde going on until the 20th. This is a time to revise, re-edit, and review everything that's been going on over this last year, but more specifically over the things that have been going on over the last couple months. With Jupiter in Sagittarius right now, there's a lot of emphasis on moving forward with being adventurous, taking risks and stuff like that. But with Saturn in Capricorn and Pluto in Capricorn, there's a big emphasis going on with I guess you could say making sure that whatever structures you've been building is something that is solid, something that will last for a while. Especially for Capricorns, they're in a sense under a lot of stress because of this Pluto and Saturn energy in Capricorn. Now, for in those of you with your sun in Scorpio, happy birthday, guys! Right? You guys have either had your birthday here within the last 20 days, or will have your birthday here within the next 10 days. So, with this, the sun is actually causing a lot of people, especially Scorpios, to kind of fully step into their power. Anybody who has Mars or Pluto in Scorpio, you guys will be feeling this energy too. That makes you highly scorpionic. And so, with that, uh, both Mercury and the Sun are in Scorpio right now, which means that anybody with the Scorpio type mentality, whether you guys are Scorpio rising, Scorpio Sun, or Scorpio Moon, that you guys will be feeling this energy very, very strongly. And this is about your expression, but this is also about the train of thought, right? We're talking about Mercury in retrograde, so some of you Scorpios might be acting out in a way that does not suit you properly. Now, another thing I want to point out is that Venus right now in Sagittarius and Jupiter in Sagittarius are square to the sign of Virgo. So people may not be seeing the full details in things that are going on. And so they might be blowing things out of proportion. That passionate energy that Sagittarius has may be cause for moving around in a destructive manner. Since you don't have the full scope of information, there could be a lot of blaming, a lot of critical nature to whatever it is that's being said, especially whatever's being thought of right now. There are no planets in Virgo. However, I do feel that a lot of people are having this trouble with being overly critical of themselves, right? And with the energy of Jupiter and Sagittarius, sorry about that. I do feel like this is even expanded even more than what it is already. Now, I do feel like there's a necessary need for people to kind of do a little bit of self care, especially with the North Node in Cancer. And this is sextile to the energy in Virgo. But I do feel like because this energy, 30, 20, is in trine with what's going on in Scorpio, especially if you have any planets that are at the 10th degree, then this is calling for people to, use this natural ability to care for others in order to be able to move forward in life. Now, tomorrow is the full moon in Gemini. So, with the full moon in Gemini, it's speaking about the necessary need to communicate, but it's a necessary need to communicate whatever it is that needs to be said. And so, with that being said, depending on where your moon is, for Taurus, this is in your first house. So this is expressing yourself in the manner that you need to express yourself, what you feel, and at the same time, with the full moon happening in Gemini, we're talking about what it is that is worthy to you, and as well as what is what you deem uh, valuable to you. But when it comes to this energy, it's about caring and nurturing. You guys are going to be communicating that with your North Node in Cancer. Well, with the North Node in Cancer and in your third house. Now, another thing I want to point out is that uh, having Pluto and Saturn in your ninth house, this is actually setting you up for future success. And with the ninth house, we're dealing with certain things um, like for instance your dreams, your aspirations, whatever it is that you feel that you want to do in life. Your North Node is pulling you in that direction. Now, I do feel that collectively as a whole, a lot of people are having that passion to move forward. They're looking towards the future. However, with the Seven of Swords, I do feel like some people are keeping secrets still, or maybe keeping certain things locked up in their mind. They're letting these things run away with them, but there's a necessary need to assess with that seven right there. That assessment is also, um, I guess you could say, in some way influenced by the Hermit as well. So, with the necessary need to assess the certain things that are going on collectively as a whole, this is a time to do it. Now, I do feel like with the Three of Wands at the bottom of the deck, that some people are not feeling uh, quite like they've gotten what they've put into things. I do feel like some people feel like they've been overworking. And because of this, it's leading them to do sneaky things, things that will be self destructive to them. In the upright, the shark, which is the element of water right here, it talks about being direct, exposing the true nature of things. And in the reverse, I do feel like maybe some people are sneaking around and doing things behind other people's backs, and it's very synonymous with the Seven of Swords. This guy, he's stealing these swords from the camp so that these people over here, so that these people right here in the background don't invade his land. However, whereas most people would view this as sneakily being done, this dude, he's being tactful. So I do feel like there's a necessary need to be tactful when it comes to yourself as a person, but collectively as a whole, I think it's necessary for us to really rethink and re-edit, revise whatever it is that we've been trying to plan, trying to move forward with, because this same staff that the Hermit has is somewhat similar to the staff that the Page of Swords has, except his holds knowledge and his holds the fire and that passion for action. And they're both, they're both facing the same way. So in a way, that bipolar nature of Gemini, we can see it right here. So, and as I go into this, the need for caring love, for the that nurturing energy to come out with Mars and Libra. Depending on where Mars is, if if you're a Libra, then this is in your first house. If you're a Scorpio, I mean, if you're a Libra, this is in your first house. So there could be a lot of assertive energy, a lot of aggression in the way that you put yourself out. For Scorpio, this is in your 12th house, so there you might not have a lot of energy. This might not allow you to move forward with a lot of different things. But Mars will be going into Scorpio here soon enough. For Sagittarius, this is in your 11th house, so there's a necessary need to network, and there's a necessary need to move forward, showing other people where, the beauty in life, but also to show them in a big way of how things can be fun, and you can still do whatever it is that you want to do. With the planet Pluto and Saturn in your second house, there's a lot of emphasis on self worth, not just showing other people your self worth, Sagittarius, but also to see how people view you and whether they view you valuable or not. Now, with the moon in your seventh house, this highlights relationships, right? And of course, this is just generally for Sagittarians, but there's a relationship theme going on there. And with with the North Node in Cancer, that would be your eighth house in whole astrology. There's a necessary need for caring for those people that you talk to, the people in your relationships, the relationships that you're in, and this is really emphasized by all this energy, especially with the full moon being in Cancer. So, with that, I do believe that this card is very, very much pointing towards you needing to be caring, needing to be loving, needing to bring out that motherly energy. I do feel like some of you guys are already doing that, but what I got at the bottom of the deck as I was drawing these cards, and this is right before I decided to record, the swan came out in the upright. So the swan, if you look at this image, it's looking at the reflection of the self, and I do feel like it's necessary for the collective as a whole, not just to not just to go into hermit mode, but also to see the reflection that they're see the reflection in themselves, see what they're putting out, and see what's coming back to them. Uh, it really expands upon the energy of the need to assess things with the Seven of Swords, and so that's what I'm getting right here for the collective whole. And I want to draw some fairy cards just to see what's going on with the energies that are here, that are going on, and especially with the full moon in Gemini, there's a necessary need for communication, and that's what's highlighted here. I do believe this communication is necessary to be done in relationships, but I mean, this communication can be done in any way, shape, or form. There could be misunderstandings with the way that people say things, and I think a good example of that is Drake, right? With the sun in Scorpio and with the moon in Taurus right now, there's a type of hard headedness, a bull, like that stubbornness of a bull, and in a way, in a way, it's actually pretty funny because Drake was actually booed off of the stage at Tyler the Creator's Camp Knawfest, and I believe it was yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. And so it was not. I mean, it's not surprising seeing that he's a Scorpio or highly Scorpionic, and a lot of the stuff that's going on is it has to do with his ego and how he puts himself out. And with Mars in the House of Libra, this is definitely dealing with the relationships and stuff like that. But I do feel like this is more of the need for him to go into hermit mode and figure out what's going on with the relationship within himself. Now, since he is a Scorpio, we're dealing with these ninth house matters of having to not just like hold a vision of taking care of others, but with the North Node there's a necessary need for reaching his goal, whatever it is that he aspires to be, and it's been like this for the last year, of course, but I won't go too much into that. I want to go ahead and draw some of these cards. And then, of course, in the end, I'm going to go ahead and speak a little bit about the nature of this lunar cycle going on for all of the signs. All right. So, yes, with the finger of transfiguration going on, coming out in the reverse, there is a necessary need for transformation of the mind. I do want to read the book real quick because I do feel like it's necessary for us to find out the information of this card in the reverse. Okay, even in the reverse, this card simply suggests that the realization or completion of this process is just around the corner. And this is a process of transformation, transcendence, and metamorphosis. So, as I was thinking, there is that necessary need for people to transform their train of thought. This is the necessary need to revise, re-edit, re-edit whatever it is that they were trying to do, their goals, their aspirations, things like that. And with this card in the reverse, I feel like people are not listening to their intuition. So it's necessary to enter that quiet space, that hermit mode, and to really think about things. With the deer in the reverse, I do feel like there's a necessary need to build that compassion. And one of the things that the deer talks about when it talks about building this loving, caring nature is to go out into nature itself. Spend some time out in the woods, out at the ocean, wherever it's quiet. Where it's away from the city, where it's away from the hustle and bustle, or spend some time with children. Could be that you need to spend time with your children if you have any, to be able to really take a look at this child nature that they carry and what makes them so happy. Because if we can carry that nature on into our adult lives, then that allows us to be happy without any expectation. And expectation is actually the biggest word that comes to mind right now, because I think that as we grow up, we tend to build up expectations about how life will be, and we don't really take the time to think. So yeah, the Lady of the Harvest is coming out in the reverse. And I do believe that there is a necessary need to transform, because the harvest is very, very close. And as the Singer of Transfiguration was talking about in the reverse, it says that the realization or the completion of this process is just around the corner. I do believe that the necessary need to harvest whatever it is that you've been working towards is just right around the corner. I want to say that people need to not give up, but in the same sense, not going into hermit mode is what's blocking this liberating energy of the lady. And we refuse to accept a loss or cling to outgrowing pains, traumas, or limiting ideas, right? These limiting ideas are because we're not taking the time to really sit there and think about what's going on, think about our lives, think about the future. And indeed, right now, we're being called to think about the future. And I do feel that with the Three of Wands in the reverse, people are not thinking about the future, and therefore are feeling emotionally imbalanced and not really doing the work that they need to do in order to reap these benefits. I do believe that a lot of it has to do with people having a lot of different choices, but not really being able to decide on which one. And especially with Mercury retrograde, it can be difficult to really think about things. The ADHD in people might activate during the Mercury retrograde. I haven't really read anything on that, but that's just how I feel. So don't quote me completely on that. I'll go ahead and let you guys know how that's going, and whether that's actually something that other readers um, are looking at. Right? Wow, that was way too many that have popped out. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle these a little more. But yeah, I can tell that people want to move forward. It's just the majority of it is having to be honest with yourself in order to cause this transformation to happen and to allow this energy to renew you. A lot of it has to do with our thoughts. And for those of you who have been thinking in a similar manner for years and years and years on end, don't expect that tower to fall right away. It's gonna take a while. There's a necessary need for reflection with the swan, the sevens, or the number 7 coming out, and the number 9. This is all leading to fulfillment. Of course, with the Lady of the Harvest, she is the number 18, and this number, if you add 8 and 1, equals 9. So 9 is a significant number for everyone. Could be that you guys have been seeing 999. It could be that you guys have been seeing some kind, or the nines everywhere, somewhere. Maybe even palindrome numbers, which are numbers that are the same forwards and backwards. 959, 919. These numbers, they show up as a way of telling us that there's changes going to be taking place, or that in order to reach fulfillment or to reach a sense of fulfillment, that it's necessary for people to be ready for that change. And I do feel like a lot of people are not really wanting to take this journey just yet. In a way, the journeyman, it reveals to me that there's a people have a certain commitment to whatever it is that they've been doing so far. They have a certain sense of complacency, and that's what's not allowing them to move forward. And especially with the journeyman in the reverse coming out right underneath the page of wands, people want to move forward, but they're just not taking that step. I do believe that this is one of those conscious things that people are doing. I do feel like some people are unconscious of the fact that they're not taking the first step, and that's why things aren't changing for them. That's why they're not reaping, the harvest of the things that they've sown, because I do feel like some of you guys are thinking that it's not going to come in, whatever it is that you guys were expecting. But remember, expectations and them not being met leads to unhappiness. So, okay, so yeah, definitely, some people are cowering. I won't say all of us in general, but I do feel like there is a lot of cowering going on, a lot of like not facing the honest truth, and a lot of sneaky energy going on. The flea lion. This is talking about endings and conclusions, but look at how he's hunched over. It's like he's trying to sneak around, right? And so this sneaky nature could be destructive in some sense, but I do feel that as a collective whole, there's a necessary need for us to enter into hermit mode so that we don't have to be in this energy any longer. And and it comes down to this is what I feel. People put out plans, people set out things into motion, people had certain expectations, and when they're not being met, they feel like what's the necessary need to plan for the future, right? Um, because there's no stability and there's a necessary need for stability, right? Because Flaf the Footer, he talks about. I mean, the Flaf the Footer is a card of needing to get back on your feet, or uh, having to steady your path, right? And of course, with the 5 and the 8, this is talking about changes, but karmic changes. These are things that are necessary to happen in order to bring us into a full mode of stability. And I do feel like there's a necessary need to be honest with yourself, so that there's uh there's no reason to hold back from moving forward, from taking this new journey. But I do feel like it's necessary to communicate, right? The full moon in Gemini is going to help with that, and at the same time, it's going to help people to not only to transform, but also to reap whatever it is that the hard work that they've put in. I mean, why put in the hard work and then just let it go to waste, right? So I want to go ahead and go to through the chart, and I want to see. Let me see. This seems highly mental, so I'm gonna focus on and the way that we put ourselves out. So I'm gonna focus on Mercury and the Sun. For Scorpio, you have the Mercury and the Sun in your first house. Of course, mirroring your first house is your seventh house, so relationships are highlighted. Um, with the fact that the moon's going to be moving into Gemini, or the full moon will be in Gemini, I believe. Hold on, let me look at my phone just to make sure. I don't want to give you guys false information, so let me look at my phone real quick. Hmm. Okay, so I was wrong about that. The full moon is in Taurus. All right, so communication is necessary, however, especially with Mercury, but there's a necessary need to really, really think about your communication. Obviously, with the Scorpio and Taurus nature, this could be talking about how people look. I mean, how one goes about making money, or making money for a relationship, right? Taurus is all about following the money. It's all about sniffing out that trail. And when it comes to Scorpio, Scorpio is all about moving forward. It's about taking action. It's about doing the research. So right now, I feel like there's a necessary need to assess things. There's a necessary need to do research. So, and also, this Gemini full moon is going to be happening next month. So as we take that dynamic of having to move forward with relationships and having to deal with relationships, there's going to be communication. But for you, Scorpio, this communication is going to be very transformative, and it's what's going to allow you to move forward. Now, for those of you who have or for those of you Sagittarii, you guys have the Sun and Mercury in your 12th house. Now, based on what I've been reading, the 12th house is one of those houses that most people misunderstand. They think that the 12th house is all about the house of undoing, and most people don't really think of the 12th house as one of those important houses, but because it's the shadow of whatever it is that's in the first house, and for you guys, your first house, starting off in Sagittarius, this is about your train of thought. This is about doing deep research, deep thinking, and of course, uh, with the full moon in Taurus, this is about thinking about these everyday things, the way that you go about making money on an everyday basis. This could be also the need to move into entrepreneurship. So for some of you guys who are starting a new job, uh, or even starting a new business, this is a necessary need for you to revise, or for you to like look at everything, make sure that the details are good, and that there's nothing missing. And I do feel like you guys are going to be doing that, especially with Mars heading into Capricorn here. I mean, heading into Scorpio here soon enough. Capricorn, you have Mercury the uh, and the Sun in your 11th house, so it could be that you guys are communicating with a lot of different people. But watch out with this Mercury retrograde, as it can bring misunderstandings and things of that nature into your life. Especially with Mercury in retrograde right now, there's a necessary need to really watch how you put yourself out, how you communicate with others, and because you have Pluto and Saturn, there's a necessary need to not be overly obsessive with whatever it is that you're doing, especially if it's work related, because that can really mess around with the reputation of your new business or your entrepreneurship or whatever it is that you're trying to do. Now, I feel that with Pisces in your second house, there's your dreams and your aspirations. This is what you hold valuable, and of course, with the Moon in Taurus in your fourth house, it's really bringing to light all of those fourth house matters. How you're going to be making money for your fourth house. Uh, with Uranus going backwards in your fourth house, I do feel that a lot of you Capricorns are, really thinking about what it is that you need to do in order to make money. And if you guys have your North Node at 6 degrees or 5 degrees or 4 degrees, Uranus is going back and forth across all of this. So it's revealing basically the lunar nature of everything. It's showing you what you need to do and where your soul's pulling you, as well as like what you feel about it and all of that. With Mars in your 10th house of Libra, I do feel like you guys are focusing a lot on business relationships. You guys are putting a lot of energy into business relationships. And that's good because this is what's going to bring about your success here going on into January when Jupiter reaches um, into Capricorn. Aquarius, you guys have Pluto and Saturn in your 12th house. So, as far as the dreams and aspirations that you guys hold, you guys might be feeling a little bit of a shadow period, and you guys may have been feeling a shadow period since 2008 when Pluto entered into the sign of Capricorn. This might be a shadow, not being able to see how to properly build things. Um, with Jupiter and Venus in the 11th house right now, you guys have probably been, for the last year at the very least, been trying to put yourselves out there a lot with that Jupiterian energy. Some of you guys may have been getting lucky with, putting yourself out there and gaining some notoriety or fame or some kind of attention. And with uh, and with the and with the Sun and Mercury in 10th house in Scorpio, you guys have been putting a lot of energy into whatever it is that you guys have been doing. Some of you guys might be building a business. Some of you guys may be doing some kind of other entrepreneurial type of thing. And you guys have been really thinking about this. You guys have been really moving forward on a mental note with how you want this to happen. And of course, you're expressing that in the way that you're doing things. Even if you're not talking overly, if you're not talking a lot, I do feel like you guys are finding different ways to communicate with people and finding communication on a more personal note, a more unique note. And, there's a necessary need to have fun for you guys, but there's a necessary need to care for those around you. And maybe even, taking them on vacations and doing things like that. But I do have to say that right now, you guys are more focused uh, on creating this vision that you have in your head. And I do feel like you guys are going to be putting a lot more energy from thinking about things and, really emphasizing on forward movement, moving forward with determination, and moving forward with a unique sense of passion and unique sense of ideas and things like that. Pisces, you have Neptune in your first house, so some of you guys might be clouded in terms of like what you really want to do, what your vision is. Right now, especially with Neptune going backwards, and with Chiron in your second house, when it comes to Chiron, it's those things that hurt us, but it's also those things that bring us an awareness of whatever it is that is really harming us. And of course, with Uranus and the Moon in third house, especially with this full moon, there's going to be a lot of communication about what it is that you want to do in terms of following the money or generating some kind of wealth, generating stability. And you guys are trying to find this unique way of being able to do it without having to focus so much on on anything else. And you know, with let me see, 5. A lot of this has to do with the fifth house matters of having fun, of having pleasure, right? The fact that you have ninth house Sagittarius with Venus and Jupiter, there's a big emphasis on having fun. There's a big emphasis on expending energy into these things that bring a sense of adventure to your life. And so I do feel that with the moon in your third house, there's a communication of how you feel, what you want to do as far as bringing stability. And with Uranus in your third house, you're trying to do that in a unique way. Do realize that the way that you communicate, Pisces, is going to show a lot of uniqueness, but it's also going to show you a way in which you can cause unexpected events or set into motion unexpected events that have the ability to expand the ability for you to not just dream, but also to reach your dreams. You have Mars in your sixth house, so I do feel like you guys are working on these everyday relationships, especially with Mars being in Libra right now. And I do feel like you guys are contemplating a lot more than anybody else, and really trying to see how you can make your dreams happen, and how you can move about making those things happen. All right. So Aries, you have Chiron in your first house, so you're being made aware of a lot of different things that are going on in your life right now, the way that you act, the way that you put yourself out, and a lot of this has to do with a unique way of how you're trying to show your worth to other people, or how you want other people to view your worth, and stuff like that. Especially with the full moon in Taurus, there's a high emphasis on money, on stability, And at the same time, you have Neptune in your 12th house, which to whatever degree is showing me that maybe there are some secrets that are being kept, and this could be, in a sense, what's keeping you from moving forward. I do feel the like these three cards pertain to you specifically, Aries. You know, there's a necessary need to really think about those things in the 12th house, and as well as really, to in order to move forward, there's a necessary need to remove secrets. And once those secrets are removed, whatever those secrets are, I do feel that you will be able to move forward on this journey that you've been wanting to partake, probably for a little while now. But there's a necessary need to sit down and plan. Taurus, you have Uranus and you have this full moon going on in your sign. So the way that you put yourself out, the way that other people uh, see you putting yourself out, of course, it's going to be in a unique way. But with Cancer in your third house, there could be a talk or the need for either for self nurturing or for nurturing from outside sources, such as other people. Let me see. But I do feel like relationships on an everyday basis are highlighted and have been highlighted for at least the last month and a half. And because you have the sign of Scorpio in your seventh house, and you have the Sun and Mercury there, relationships are highly highlighted for a lot of you Taurans. You have Venus and Jupiter in your eighth house of Sagittarius, so I do feel like there are big transformations going on in terms of your relationships, but these are transformations that are supposed to help you grow and to help you see the beauty in life. With Pluto and Saturn in your ninth house of Capricorn, you're really putting a lot of energy into building this future, building this vision that you guys have in mind, and a lot of that is going to factor into how you move forward from this point on. Of course, with uh, with Neptune in the 11th house, there could be a little bit of fog in terms of how you reach this vision or how you reach this dream. I do feel like you guys have to listen to your intuition and let your intuition roll through. Hang around some children, go out into nature. I do feel like this is going to be helpful for you, Taurus. Gemini, you have the North Node in your second house. So, in how you care for people and how you communicate with people, I do feel this is necessary in order to help you see, a unique way of doing things. Because I do feel like maybe you guys are feeling trapped. I do feel like maybe you guys are feeling like you can't be your unique self. And and really, when we're not able to be our unique self, especially in relationships, there could be a lot of aggression. So I feel that some of you guys are experiencing aggression in in the way that you try to have fun with relationships. Maybe you put out a little bit too much energy, and they're not used to it. With uh, with the Sun and Mercury going on in sixth house, I do feel like you guys are thinking about these things on an everyday basis, how you put yourself out, doing deep research, doing a lot of inner work. And this has to deal with how to make your relationships more fun and trying to expand upon that energy. Um, with Pluto and uh, and Saturn in your eighth house of Capricorn, there's a lot of transformations going on. Don't be surprised, Gemini, that a lot of things that a lot of things are changing because this is karmic events that are happening. It's removing everything that's unnecessary for you, and it's going to be moving you into a space of where you can find what you really dream about and start putting energy into that. Let me see. With Neptune in your 10th house, your dreams and your aspirations, they could be looking towards work or career or social status, any one of those. But there is a certain something that maybe people are seeing in you, a certain long-standing hurt, a wound of some kind, that just kind of like fires up that passion within you. But I do feel that if you take a look at yourself, you can take a look at see what it is that hurts you and come to a new awareness. Because Chiron, although it does speak about wounds, it allows people to move forward with whatever it is that they feel and what they're feeling right now. Trusting your intuition. That's all. That's all that's encompassed the by Neptune in ninth house. Looking at your visions, looking at your dreams, paying attention to your dreams, and allowing those dreams to kind of bring you into a new sense of consciousness. I do feel like some of you guys are gonna have trouble with the individuality here for a little while. This is a necessary need to find yourself, and finding yourself through social status, um, through your advancement in life. It has a lot to do with how you care with others, but a big driving factor is the energy of Libra and trying to find out how you're going to move forward in a fun manner that allows other people to enjoy your company. Cancer, you have the North Node in your sign, and it would be in your first house. So there's a necessary need to put yourself out there, be of service, right? Be be compassionate, be kind, and once you do that, you'll see that those relationships that you build, especially the ones in the home sector, are going to be the ones to benefit from it the most. Now, if you have the Sun and Scorpio uh, in your fifth house naturally, then you're going to be feeling this energy of Mars and the Sun in Scorpio, the really deep thinking, the ability to do research on a deep fundamental level, um, and actually have fun with it. But with Venus and Jupiter in the sixth house of Sagittarius, you guys might want to go on vacations. You guys might not want to do a lot of work. And you guys are focusing mostly on relationships, transforming relationships, and organizing it in a way that you guys can really, start to move forward. And with Neptune, it's all about those dreams and aspirations that we wish to go after. With Aries, those of you who have Aries in your 10th house, it really is focusing on, these messages that are coming in from source and this ability to connect to a higher realm, a higher message line or energy. But I do feel that some of you guys are hmm, with Neptune in Pisces, it's really a transformative experience, but on a spiritual level. I do feel like you guys are experiencing some spiritual transformations going on, and these spiritual transformations might be going on in the work sector. But regardless of whether it's going on in the work sector or not, you know, especially with Uranus in Taurus, which is your 11th house, it really makes me think that maybe you guys may need to ramp it down a little bit, and this will help you to kind of integrate with everybody else with um and that'll definitely help that Uranian energy. But I do feel like a lot of this is happening here within the full moon for you guys. Leo, you have the North Node in your 12th house. So what this tells me is that in terms of like what it is that you think about yourself, you might be feeling like after the North Node has passed through your sign, you felt the need to pull towards your soul mission. But right now, I do feel like you guys are assessing a lot of different things. Um, a lot of you guys may be involved with charity, with some kind of nonprofit organizations, and because when we talk about the 12th house, we talk about selfless service to others, but we talk about spreading that compassion into institutions or creating an institution that shares or gives freely. And uh, with Uranus in the ninth house, and this ability to make money or this ability to have sudden windfalls is what's going to allow you to be able to do just that. Chiron in your eighth house is, in a sense, allowing you to see whatever it is that hurts you so that you come to a new consciousness. And this allows you to have that passion to transform not just your life, but everybody else's life in general. And you know, because a lot of the dreams and I mean the spirituality of Pisces and this depth of Pisces with Neptune and Pisces and being at home, there's no trouble for you guys to like really take a really deep look at what your dreams are, what your aspirations are, and as far as that goes, it deals with relationships since it's in your guys' seventh house. Um, in your fifth house, you got Capricorn and Pluto and Saturn, so there's a lot of emphasis on having fun. There could be an obsessive nature to having fun, but I think it's tempered by that Saturnian energy. And you know, you guys are trying to expand and trying to see the beauty in life, trying to have fun with family, etc. With Sagittarius being in your fourth house and Jupiter and Venus being there. Definitely a lot of communication for you guys with the Sun and Mercury being in your third house. But watch how you communicate. Don't try not to express your passion too much of how especially in your relationships, kind of ramp it down a little bit and allow that energy to show itself in the way that you think and the way that you act. Right? I mean, not really so much the way that you think because right now that's going to be kind of off. But I do feel like it's necessary for you guys uh, to have a lot of communication with a lot of people and to really figure out whatever it is that they're trying to say, especially with this Mercury retrograde. Virgo, you have the you have Mars in your second house, so a lot of what's going on right now in your relationships it's affecting how you feel about yourself, your self worth, and things of that nature. With and you guys might be communicating this a lot, especially with Mercury and the Sun in your third house of Scorpio. You guys are doing a lot of deep thinking. You guys are doing a lot of assessing. You guys are doing a lot of research. Most people don't really see it because with Scorpio, this is research of a secretive nature, and of course with Virgo, there's definitely a need for assessing whatever it is, but also to be honest with yourself, right? Because when we talk about the shark, it's about being sneaky and destructive, and uh, with the Mercury retrograde coming right now, and with the King of Swords in the reverse, I do feel like you are not seeing the full picture. And so there's a necessary need to kind of do what you guys do best and step into hermit mode and to figure out the full details of whatever it is that's going on. Because I do feel that that's really the reason of why you're not harvesting uh, the benefits of this relationship, but also the benefits of what's going on in your life right now. There's a necessary need for opening your heart or your throat chakra and really communicating how you feel. This communication is what's going to cause your transformation to take place, and it's going to allow you to begin this new journey on an even foot and allow you to move forward with you know with strength, with a clear sense of where you're going in life and that passion. You guys have Venus in your fourth house, and you know this is really highlighting the seeing the beauty, seeing the fun, and really expanding upon the things of the home and family. For those of you who are married, this is really seeing the beauty of your relationship. And with Mars and Pluto in your fifth house in Capricorn, this is putting in a lot of energy, putting a lot of organization into having fun with this person, and you know, really trying to find the love and the pleasure in your relationships. With Neptune in the seventh house in Pisces for you guys can be really looking at your dreams and aspirations within your relationship, and also really taking a look at uh, at what it is that's hurting you. You know, these wounds that you carry from past relationships and stuff like that, that are really going to help you to come into a new understanding, a transformative experience through your awakening of your consciousness. And with Uranus in the ninth house, this is going to allow you to really uh, find a unique way of bringing this stability into your life with Taurus in your ninth house. But this also could be a new way of finding how to make money. Sudden windfall, a sudden job that you never thought you would have. So for those of you who are looking for jobs, keep applying. For those of you who are starting a new business, this could be a unique way to make money, and does kind of draw on that theme of the ninth house Taurus. But I do feel that with the North Node in your 11th house, there is a necessary need for you guys uh, to really take a look at. I mean, no, but that's in your 11th house. Is really to care for the majority of the people that are trying to support you. And at this time, you guys are going to be feeling that love, even if you don't see it. It's there. Believe me, Virgo, it's there. All right, so that's good for you, Virgo. Libra, you guys might be last, but you guys are definitely not the least. With 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 Libra, you guys have Mars in your first house, and I know I mentioned this earlier in the video, but I want to expand on these planets for you guys. And with Mars in your first house, this might be giving off a little bit of an aggressive tone to you guys. Now, this this is definitely in the relationship sector and how you put yourself out in the relationship. But really, you guys are thinking about how to express yourself. You guys are doing deep research into how what you view as valuable, but also how others view you as valuable. And with Mercury in the going in retrograde right now, there might not be a clear picture. So I feel that for you specifically Libra, there's a necessary need to go into a little bit of a hermit mode. For some of you guys may have already done this, so it might not pertain to you. But with this Mercury retrograde, really be careful with how you think because you might not be seeing the full scope of things, and as a result, you might be making certain judgments or not making certain judgments that need to take place. But I do feel that for the majority of you guys are communicating how you feel. You guys are communicating what it is that you view as valuable to you, and you guys are also communicating, how you want to have fun, what it is that you guys are wanting to do. Having wanting to go out on adventures, trying to see the beauty in life, and in a big way. With Capricorn in your fourth house, with Pluto and Saturn in there, there's a necessary need to put a lot of energy into organization, into building this relationship. And since the relationships are the themes for the majority of you guys right now, I do feel that that this energy is there. It's necessary because for the relationships that are not strong, they're gonna falter, they're gonna fail. But it's gonna allow you to move forward. It's gonna remove the unnecessary things from your home life and allow you to move forward in a structured manner and in a way that's more organized and things of that nature. You guys have Neptune in Pisces in your sixth house, so you guys are definitely taking a look at um, what you need to do on a daily basis, but you guys are also growing spiritually on a day to day basis. And with Chiron in your seventh house of Aries, there are a lot of things that may hurt you, a lot of deep wounds that are opening, and this may cause that aggression to come out, right? Because uh, the Libra Aries opposition. So this does have a lot to do with relationships in general, and a lot of these relationships are undergoing some kind of karmic events, and these events are necessary because it's changing and transforming the way that you look at life, the way that you see beauty. But this change in all of these things that are going on, especially with the moon, with the full moon in your eighth house, a lot of these things are starting to come to a culmination, right? It's been building, from the new moon, and it's going to reach its culmination right here at the full moon tomorrow. And you guys are going to come into a unique sense of what it is that you guys want to do in order to create some type of generational wealth. And a lot of this has to do with how you uh, take care of others, but also in how you move forward with your social standing, with your career, and how you care and nurture for that career. So basically, that's all I'm getting for the collective as a whole. I hope that you like this collective reading. If you liked it, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell somewhere down here at the bottom. I keep getting confused because the camera right here is flipped around. So right is left, left is right, and so regardless. Moving on. I do feel like there is a necessary need for a lot of us to really go into a period of assessment a hermit mode, having the need to be honest with ourselves, and just going out into nature and recharging. For water signs, this could be going out into the ocean, going out to a lake, going out to a river, uh, or just hanging around your children in general. For air signs, I do feel like maybe it's necessary to go out to a place that's windy because I don't know if it's true, but I heard that, and I myself have felt it too. If you go out to a place where it's really windy, it allows the wind to kind of blow your thoughts away, and you'll find that after sitting in the wind for a little while, you basically think of nothing. It puts you into a meditative state all on its own. For fire signs, I do feel like maybe sitting at a campfire, especially now that it's cold, right? You can sit and stare at the flame. Just watch how the flames dance, and this will allow you to be able to fall into that meditative state, that trance that you need, and that you need and basically this hermit mode, in order to be able to really think on an even level, level-headed level, and to cause this transformation to take place so that you can reap the benefits of everything that you've been doing so far, especially since this last full moon when the energy started dying down, and the last time that things came to a culmination with, I do believe it was Aries, right? If I'm not mistaken, the full moon in Aries. So, um, I do believe it was a full moon in Aries. Don't quote me on that, guys. But let me see. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Yes, communication is definitely highlighted, guys. There's a new journey that wants to happen. There's a passion for it, but first, I do feel like there's a necessary need to communicate and create stability as a collective whole before we can move forward with that. So, as I said, if you like this, please like, share, and subscribe. Go ahead and hit that notification bell somewhere around here. And um, just give me a little bit of time, guys, because everything has been pretty busy lately, and I haven't been able to get to these readings. But I did feel like it was necessary to put this out to the collective whole, to everybody who watches these videos, to anybody who feels or sees this happening in somebody else's life, so that so that everybody can come to a sense of healing. And you know what? That fawn has been sitting there staring at me for this whole time. So I think I'm just going to take a look at it real quick and see what message it has before I end this video. The fawn is understanding the nature of nature, its natural wisdom and natural magic. And so the natural magic is simple. It just is, right? There's no need to try. There's just a necessary need to sit there and be. And so with it in the upright, the natural magic is happening. When things flow almost effortlessly, that is a sign that the natural magic is at work. Enjoy it. I do feel like with the Lady of the Harvest in the reverse, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of us are blocking that energy from taking place. We're not allowing these transformations to move us forward. And for whatever reason, with this Mercury retrograde, it's got us like not really thinking about how we can move forward, but kind of stuck in the past and stuck with these things that are not allowing us to move forward. I guess the overall message here is to let go of those things that have been holding you back and to move forward, but doing so by going into your natural element. Fire, for the fire signs, look at fire. For the air signs, go into a windy place. For the earth signs, go out into nature, out into a forest, out to the mountains. Just ground yourself. Maybe take your shoes off and stand on some type of grass, some type of dirt, sand. It doesn't matter where. Anywhere with your feet on the earth is going to help you with that. And for the water signs, just go out into nature, to a river, to a lake, to a stream, an ocean, or something like that. And this is going to help you to be able to sit there and contemplate the things of your life, and really to assess everything that's been going on, and to do the inner work. That's basically what I get out of these three cards right here, is to do the inner work. Some of you guys might have to stay up late, burning the midnight oil, burning the candle at both ends, so to speak, and to really reach this sense of contemplative reflection to see what exactly is going on in your life and how you could fix it. All right, so I'll end the message there. I definitely feel like that was necessary for you guys to hear. Thank you, fairies. Thank you, animal spirits, and thank you, spirit, for overall consciousness, the universe, for sharing this message with us. I do feel like it was necessary for some of you guys to hear this. I know it was necessary for me to hear this, and I do feel like this is going to be somewhat helpful for you guys, very helpful for others of you, and for others of you, it might not resonate with you because you guys have been doing the inner work already. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys and end the recording right here. Like I said, please like, share, and subscribe. If you feel like donating to the channel, please do so. It helps me with getting this dream of doing tarot readings on a daily basis and also doing them with the lunar readings and also putting out other content. I've actually had the thoughts of creating a live channel aside from Tarot and Astrology for All, where people can go on, get free readings, um, get their questions answered, and for others of you who are tarot readers to really have the chance to put your skills and your abilities out on YouTube or just out in general into the public, because I am looking to build Tarot and Astrology for All up, and I am looking to expand it and to actually create a physical entity that people can look up to for guidance. So, with that being said, I would like to bid you guys farewell. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you here shortly enough with your guys' readings for the full moon. So, I hope you guys have a good afternoon, a good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world, and that you guys really take a second to think about this and really assess what's going on in your life and how best to move forward. So I hope you guys have a good afternoon, good evening, a good morning. I am David with Tarot and Astrology for All, signing out.